We moving the chains, we changing the game. You know that we moving the chains with Chief. Just stay in your lane, so nothing the same. We steady be moving the chains with Chief.
Welcome to yet another episode of Moving the Chains with Chief. I'm Chief, of course, and the playoffs are finally upon us. Yes, the fantasy football regular season is over. We have folks on the outside looking in, folks on the inside looking up to a potential fourth championship. Yes, two current playoff members in League A have the chance to tie me with four. Yes, four total championships. Orlando Leones and the Commish. Of course, I wish them the worst of luck, but hey, it's any given Sunday. We don't know what the hell can happen. But speaking of Orlando Leones, he is officially our number 2 seed after he lost to our reigning champs Beast Mode last week, who locked in that number 1 seed. They both get bye week, so does it really matter? And as for our last place finish, Gators Gat secured that as he played Adrian last week and he took another L. Why couldn't you do that against me? Maybe I'd be sitting in the playoffs, but I digress. And as for myself and the 5 other teams who were fighting for those 3 spots, Nico, he beat out. Nico, he beat Dirty Mike and the boys, and he took that last playoff spot, or took his playoff spot. And I lost to Sino, so I lost my opportunity to get into the playoffs. And even though the Commish lost, he still squeaks in with the illustrious 6th seed. I think that seed has won the most championships, to be honest. So I think I did it like twice. So yeah, that's how League A turned out. And for League B, Kung Fu Kenny, all he had to do was win and he was in. And that's what he did. Nigerian Scammer, on the other hand, he shall scam no more. He lost to Goldie Ray, whatever the hell his name is, and he is no longer in the playoffs. So you'll scam us next year, I guess. And as for Manila Mafia, probably the most angriest owner in both leagues. He has the number 1 quarterback, number 1 running back, and number 1 receiver in fantasy football. Still no playoffs. Yes, 3rd highest scoring team. No playoffs. I truly know how that feels. And our orphan team. Yes, we had an ownership change this season. They were giving the team at the bottom of the pile. And Miami Vice stuck it through. He said he's going to make the playoffs. We have a new manager joining League B. And he has a few words for you guys. So
I appreciate Freddie fighting and let me in. I'm going to make the playoffs and fuck everybody and take the title this year.
And that he did. Congratulations, Miami Vice. You know, wish you the best of luck, because I'm not in the league. I'm not in the playoffs, so I can give a fuck. Care less, whatever. Yeah, clearly I'm mad. But yeah, we're going to get into some TLFL history. Take it away, Dev.
It's finally that time of the year, and we are heading into the fantasy playoffs. Of course, meaning this is the first time we're going to have a history in the making segment for the TLFL playoffs. Now, as you all know, this was a huge year first for this league. We implemented a second league and 12 new members with TLB. We started using Discord, which allows us to engage with the community like never before. And as historian, maybe the most important thing we've done as a first is League Legacy. It gives us insights into historical data from every team, every matchup, every week. With that, we're going to have a little bit of fun and have our first ever award show. So I'm happy to present to you the first annual TLFL Honors. Now for these categories, we're going to have quite a few available for you, and they're going to be between TLFL and TLB. So we are all going to be together in this. And you're going to see that as we kick it off with our first category, which is Game of the Year. Surprisingly, this just took place last week, the last week of the regular season, and we're going to head to TLB, where Miami Vice knocked out the first-seeded Full Monty and clinching a playoff spot. So obviously getting the upset in the last week of the season to get a playoff spot is a big deal on its own. However, You may remember Miami Vice just took this team over in the middle of the season. A team that was struggling, looked like it had no shot at the playoffs, has fully turned it around, and a huge upset in the final week finished that playoff push. So congratulations, Miami Vice, on Game of the Year. Now for our next category, we're going to move over to Rivalry of the Year. And this is where I'd like to be transparent and tell you that Chris selected these categories and its recipients. So don't look at me about this one. But the decision here was to go with myself and Cino. If you are new to this league, you might not know this is something that spilled over from last year. There was a lot of collusion talks and shit talking that has sprung up from it. It's been a fun time, to be honest. But didn't heat up too much this year, in my opinion. However, there is a chance for that to continue in the playoffs. With me having the bye in the first round, if Cino is able to beat Chris, he will be my semifinal matchup. So we could see things spring up from that. I was able to defeat him earlier in the season, so we'll see what comes from this, if anything, moving forward. But that is going to be our rivalry of the season. Now, our next category will be Blunder of the Year. So which owner made a fatal mistake that may have cost them quite a bit? And in this case, it truly did. And once again, we're going to head back to TLB in just last week, where we have Manila Mafia looking to make the playoffs, having a matchup that seemed very winnable up until late Monday night. One thing would have changed that all and put it to bed much earlier, and that would have been starting Harold Fannin, who dropped 28.4 fantasy points. Just before the game started, swapped him out of the starting lineup for Darren Waller, who dropped 2.7. A blunder that fully cost a playoff spot and is well deserving of Blunder of the Year. And for our next category, I am not happy to present to you the Content Creator of the Year. Obviously not myself, I will happily admit that. But this category feels like it exists just for one reason, and it's for the Commish to stroke his own ego, because he will be the winner of Content Creator of the Year, showing up every single week on screen to make something for this league. Chris, we do appreciate it, but you don't need to give yourself an award. It's okay. And our next category will be Rookie Coach of the Year. Obviously, TLB would be the landing spot, and we have to go with top-seeded Full Monty. Now, first season of the league, came in, absolutely crushed it, goes 10-4, locks up a bye spot very easily. Number 1 seed, not much else to say, just dominated throughout the season. Now looks to utilize that bye week in the playoffs to take it all the way and win the inaugural TLB. Moving on to our next category will be the Comeback Coach of the Year, which is a pretty easy choice if you look at the playoff field. Last year you had Bay Lake Showboats and Nico, their manager, at 2-12, nowhere near a playoff spot, just completely out of it early on. Now this year getting up to 7-7, getting a playoff spot within that last week, and saving a season that looked like it was going downhill. So that is a huge turnaround. Good luck in the playoffs. Hope to see you in the final, Nico. And our next category will be Coach of the Year. It's kind of hard to argue against this, but we have to go with Larry and his team Beast Mode. Not only did a defending champ finish first seed this year, and for the 16th consecutive season locks up a playoff spot in TLFL. How he keeps doing it, I don't know, and in this season finishing top seed, you can't deny him this honor, so congratulations, Larry. I really hope you don't win it again, though. And for our final category of the night, I will be presenting the GM of the Year. And this is going to go to fully automatic, but not in the way you'd expect. Not the coach, Cino. However, ESPN's pre-draft rankings. As you might remember, fully automatic was a auto-drafted team. Well, guess what? Fully automatic ended up being the highest scorer in TLFL this season. So I guess those pre-draft rankings worked out pretty well. So congratulations, ESPN, in your final year affiliated with TLFL. You are GM of the Year somehow. Now that we've wrapped up TLFL honors, I do want to give you a few stats moving into the playoffs. Now, we did talk about how Larry has the longest ever playoff streak, now at 16 straight seasons, dating all the way back to 2010, just the second season in league history. Very impressive, probably never be broken. We'll see if it ever even ends at this point. But there are a few other notable playoff streaks. First, Chris will move to his 5th straight playoff appearance, which will move him into 4th all-time, tied with Freddie. So Chris, congratulations. After all your terrible seasons early on, you now have a long enough playoff streak to be top 5 overall. Also, myself, moving forward now, will be in the 4th straight playoffs, my 2nd longest streak throughout my time in TLFL, and that'll move me into currently Chris's spot at 6th place all time. On a slightly more depressing spectrum, we do have Mason missing out on the playoffs this year, of course, ending his longest streak, which he was currently on, which was 2 playoff appearances in a row. So he's stuck now with his longest playoff streak being just 2. Sorry, Mason, get that streak going, and within a few years, you could have your longest streak ever. And now for the last thing I do want to discuss in History in the Making this week is going to be championships. That is what the playoffs are all about. That is what the league is all about. I want to specifically look at championship droughts. Our current longest drought belongs to Mason, who we just discussed. From 2012, his first year in the league, to now, this will be the 14th straight season he does not win a championship, the longest drought of all time in league history, and obviously that will continue to go. There is one very long streak that could end this year, though, and that would be Nico, who joined the league in 2013, has not won it, so currently at 12 seasons. Can he win it this year and stop the bleeding, end that drought? We'll see. Myself, I'm currently at a 10-year streak, which is tied 5th all time, so hopefully I can stop the bleeding there as well. Otherwise, we have some people who aren't on too long of streaks, so we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully I'm your champion, but if not, good luck to everyone in the playoffs. We'll be back next week for our History in the Making, but for now, we should look at the playoffs, take a little deeper dive, and I'm going to toss it over to Commish to do that. Commish?
Man, taking a look at all of those amazing honors that we got to see this regular season really gets me excited for these next few weeks. So without further ado, it's time to take a look at our playoff preview. Now we're going to go ahead and get started with the main league, looking at our 2 playoff matchups. Seeing that Larry and Duff are both on a bye, we just have 2 games to cover this week. The first, we've got number 6, 3-Ring Circus, yours truly, going against number 3 seed, Fully Automatic. Now this matchup has been fairly exciting over the last few years, but it's been dominated by one side, dominated by me. I'm actually going into this matchup with a 3-game win streak, but my overall record actually sits undefeated. 5 wins, 0 losses, and 1 draw. What's even crazier is you look back to week 5 of this week, absolute nail biter. I was able to narrowly come away with the win by just 1 point. So the matchup is as close as ever, and the record might be deceiving. Is this something I can hold on to heading into round 1 of the playoffs? Will I be able to maintain that undefeated record against Sino? Or is it finally time for Fully Automatic to get one over on me? Time will tell, but I do like my chances going into it. Sino, best of luck to you, but hope I come out unbeaten again. Next up, we have number 5, Bay Lake Showboats going against number 4, Return of the DAC. Nico and the Bay Lake Showboats currently sit at 4-7 with this head-to-head record, but that's not actually the scariest part. Looking at just this season's record, Darren has already beaten Nico twice. This third matchup is going to determine who's going to go on to round 2. Is it time for Nico to finally get one over on Darren, or will Darren complete the sweep 3 games in a row in just 2025? We'll just have to wait and see. Best of luck to you, gentlemen. Moving over into TLB, this is an exciting week. This is the first ever playoff matchup heading into our brand new league and season this year. So very excited for these 2 teams. First, we've got number 6, Miami Vice, going up against number 3, P. Bateman. Now what's exciting is Miami Vice is kind of the Cinderella story of the year. You guys might remember back in week 8, Joe of Miami Vice actually took over that team and started this stretch to actually turn around that orphan team and make his way to the playoffs. And who did he actually play in week 8? None other than Pete Bateman. Joe ended up winning that matchup. Let's see if he can do it again to move into round 2 of the playoffs, or is it time for Pete Bateman to show why he finished the season at the top of the points for leaderboard? Scoring title belongs to one, but who's going to move on to round 2? Let's go ahead and find out. Best of luck to you gentlemen as well. Surely is going to be an exciting matchup. And in our final matchup, we look at number 5, Raising Power Levels, going against number 4, Mamba Mentality. Now, Kenny was able to secure his playoff spot in that final week with that win, but it looks like Mamba Mentality has been pretty strong all year long. Will Kenny be able to prove that he should be in here and kind of silence those doubters? Or will, to be honest, I have no idea what this person's name is. I'm still trying to figure that one out because they haven't changed it, but the owner of Mamba Mentality might be able to be consistent as he always is. We're going to see if that consistency rolls on into the playoffs. Sure to be a fun one nonetheless. Make sure you guys change your name in the Discord. I don't know who you guys are. And that's going to go ahead and do it for our playoff preview of round 1 of the playoffs here in 2025 TLFL season. No one is more excited than me, I absolutely guarantee it. It's finally that time of the year. So again, best of luck to all of our competitors that are still playing, but a reminder for those that are not playing in the main league. Even if you are out of the playoffs, your season is not done yet. Our final standings will be determined by the consolation ladder, and whoever finishes in last place in those final season standings is the one who will be doing the Waffle House punishment. So just because you're out doesn't mean it's over. Make sure you're setting those lineups all the way through the end. And for TLB, that extends to you guys as well. We know it's the first season. We know we don't have a punishment or anything really on the line, but really we want to keep this competitive all the way through the end of the season, and it really takes all of you guys to do that. It's something we're definitely looking for in any of the members who are looking to carry over into next year. Again, it is a highly competitive league. It's the whole reason that we actually doubled the amount of leagues that we have. So we're excited to have you guys in there, but you got to show us that you want to be here. So continue to play to the end, continue to make those moves, set your lineups, and we're going to have an excellent finish to the season. Thank you, gentlemen. Chief, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Chris. And yeah, that honestly, that wraps up the show. I ain't gonna take any more of your time. Best of luck to all y'all out there. Really no, but whatever, bro. I'm done saying fuck you.
We moving the chains, we changing the game, you know that we moving the chains with Chief. Just stay in your lane, so nothing the same. We steady be moving the chains with Chief. Go for the rain, just doing my thing, you know that we moving the chains with Chief. We moving the chains with Chief. Talking my shit at the end of the week, we moving the chains, we changing